Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Intimacy Insights by Anais. So, today we are going to be having a very deep and personal conversation about something that affects so many of us without knowing childhood trauma and how it shapes our relationship. That's our topic for today. We all have a choice in the people we strive to be as an adult. But let's be very honest, our childhood experiences shapes us to a certain extent. The way we react to situations, the way we express ourselves, and the way we form connections. These patterns start forming when we were young, and as we learn how to make sense out of the world around us. That is why so many of us struggle in our relationships today without even knowing the reason. But understanding ourselves better can lead to healing, and that's exactly what we will be doing today. By the end of this video, I assure you that you will understand how childhood trauma affects love and relationships. Secondly, you will learn about the different love styles and how they impact us as an adult. Again, you will discover practical steps to heal and build healthier relationships. And as always, I want to remind you that this is a safe space. If anything resonates with you in this video, don't hesitate to drop it in the comment below. Let's heal together. Now, let's define childhood trauma. What is childhood trauma? This is any painful or distressing experience that happened when we were young, and this has shaped how we think, how we feel, and how we behave as an adult. It doesn't just come from extreme experiences or situations like sexual abuse or neglect. It can also come from growing up in a household where emotions were ignored, having overly critical or controlling parents, experiencing instability like parents divorcing or moving frequently, feeling like you were never good enough no matter what you did. Did you ever feel unheard or unseen as a child? Did you always have to be good to receive love? Let me tell you a story of my friend Maya. I'll be telling this story with her permission. Maya never felt good enough. Maya grew up with strict parents. If she got good grades, she was praised. But if she failed in her classes, she was criticized. Over time, Maya learned that love had to be earned. Fast forward to now that she's an adult. Maya became a people pleaser. She was constantly overextending herself in relationships. She was trying to be perfect for her partners. Does this sound familiar to you? If you grew up in an environment where love felt conditional, this could be affecting your relationships today. This will take us now to the love styles. Let's talk about the love styles and how they shape our relationships. I'll be giving an example with some of my friends' stories. A marriage and family counselor, Dr. Milan and K. Yakovich, discovered that everyone develops a love style based on their upbringing. A love style is our tendency in relationship, how we give and receive love. Understanding our love style can help us recognize unhealthy patterns and learn how to create a healthy relationship in the future. There are about 5 love styles, so I'll be breaking them down and I'll be explaining how they affect relationship. Number one love style is the pleasers, the one who can say no. Pleasers grew up in homes where parents is either overly critical or emotionally unpredictable. As children, they learn that being good keeps them safe. Instead of receiving comfort, they become the ones giving the comfort to their parents. Because of this, pleasers avoid conflict at all costs. Pleasers also feel responsible for other people's emotions. They also have a hard time saying no to people, even when it's discomforting to them. I'll give you an example with my friend Sarah. Sarah was always trying to make her partners happy. She grew up in a house where her father was constantly angry. She learned very early that if she was perfect, she was quiet, disobedient, obedient, always helpful, she could avoid her father's outburst. Fast forward to adulthood, Sarah constantly found herself in relationships where she gave too much and got nothing in return. She felt drained, but she didn't know how to stop. Now, how can people like this heal? How can pleasers heal? Pleasers should learn to express their own feelings honestly. They should learn to set boundaries without guilt, and they should stop trying to fix or please their partners all the time. The second love style is the victims, the one who hides. Victims grew up in chaotic homes where conflict is normal. They survive by staying quiet, avoiding attention, and numbing their feelings. Because of this, victims struggle, victims struggle with low self-esteem. They feel anxious in stable relationships because they are used to chaos. They often end up with controlling partners who mirror their childhood experiences to them, and this is actually very sad. I have a story of my friend who is a victim, Kelvin. Kelvin was always walking in eggshells. Kelvin's mother had unpredictable moods. Sometimes she was loving, some days she exploded in anger. As a child, Kelvin learned to stay invisible to avoid trouble. In relationships, he became overly accommodating. He was never expressing his true feelings. He stayed in toxic relationships because chaos felt normal to him. Now, how can people like this heal the victims? How can they heal? Victims should practice self love and self worth. They should recognize that a peaceful relationship isn't boring, and they should speak up instead of avoiding conflicts. Let's talk about the third love style, which is the controller, the one who needs to be in charge. Controllers grow up in homes where they had little protections, so they learn to toughen up and take care of themselves. They need to control in order to feel safe. They avoid vulnerability because they see it as weakness. They often use anger as a defense mechanism. Let me tell you a story of Jason, my friend. Jason don't like depending on anyone. I know him so well. He grew up with an absent father. He had to learn to survive on his own. Now, as an adult, he struggles with trust and refuses to rely on anyone. If his girlfriend tries to get close, he pulls away because deep down, he fears being let down. Now, how can people like this, the controllers, heal? Controllers need to learn to trust and let go of control. Controllers need to understand that vulnerability is not weakness. If you're a controller, you need to practice emotional regulation instead of using anger. The fourth love style is the vacillators, the one who feels everything deeply. Vacillators grew up in homes where love and attention were inconsistent. They deeply fear abandonment and they have intense emotions in relationships. They idealize relationships. Then, at the end, they get disappointed very quickly. They feel misunderstood easily. They struggle with emotions. They struggle with emotional ups and downs. Let me give you another story of my friend Emily. Emily, she fell too hard and too fast. Emily had a mother who only gave her attention when she felt like. As an adult, Emily craved deep, passionate love. She would rush into relationships, thinking she found the one, only to feel crushed when reality didn't match her expectations. Now, how can vacillators heal? How can this type of people heal? Vacillators need to learn to pace themselves in relationships. They need to recognize that no one is perfect, and they need to manage expectations in love. The fifth one, which is the last set of people, is the avoiders, the one who keeps their distance. Avoiders grew up in homes that valued independence over emotions. They learn to rely on logic rather than feelings. They struggle with intimacy in their relationships. They dislike emotional conversations. They prefer to solve problems alone. How can avoiders heal? Avoiders need to learn to open up emotionally. They need to allow themselves to be vulnerable. They need to learn to express their needs honestly. We've all discussed this love style. Now, the next one is how to heal from childhood trauma and love style generally. Now that we've understood how childhood trauma affects us and the different love styles we develop, the next big question is how do we heal? How do we break free from these patterns so we can have healthy, fulfilling relationships? The good news is healing is possible, but it starts with awareness and action. Let's talk about the 5 essential steps to healing childhood trauma in relationships. Step 1 is recognizing your pattern. You cannot heal what you don't acknowledge. Lie, lie. Start by noticing your love style. Ask yourself this question: how do I react in relationships? Identify what triggers you. Let me give you an instance of Olivia, my friend. Let me give you an example with her story, her breakthrough. She usually choose emotionally distant partners. She found herself dating emotionally unavailable men. At first, they seemed charming to her, but over time they would pull away. She always felt like she was chasing love. One day, through therapy, Olivia realized something powerful. Her father had always been emotionally distant, and she was unconsciously repeating that pattern in her relationship without knowing. Now, I want you to think about your own relationship. Are there any pattern that keeps repeating itself? The second step is rewriting your story. No story is permanent. Your childhood shaped you, but it does not have to define who you are forever. Identify the false belief you've carried from childhood. Replace negative self talks with self compassion. Understand that you're worthy of love just as you are. I'll give you a story of Ryan. Ryan thought he was unlovable. He grew up with a mother who was always critical. Nothing was ever good enough. As a child, he internalized the belief that he was not enough. As an adult, this belief showed up in his relationships. He never felt secured. He was always fearing being abandoned, and he felt unworthy of love all the time. But after working on himself, Ryan realized that the love he craved for had to come from within first. He kept on affirming, I am worthy of love. I do not need to prove my worth to anybody. That's what you need to be affirming every day. Step 3 is learning emotional regulations. Many of us never learn how to process our emotions in a healthy way. Healing means learning how to feel without being overwhelmed. When you feel triggered, I want you to pause and breathe. Name that feeling. I feel rejected. Oh, I feel scared. Remind yourself that your emotions are valid, but they don't control you. Mhm. Let me tell you about Marcus, my friend. I have so many stories, but I'll just tell you. I'll try to shorten them because I don't want the video to be too long. Marcus used anger to hide his pain. He grew up in a home where expressing emotions was seen as weakness. Instead of showing fear or sadness, he learned to express only one emotion, which is anger. This affected his relationships because every time he felt vulnerable, he would lash out all the time. But when he started going for therapy, Marcus learned to slow down and express his feelings instead of suppressing them. Now, I want you to ask yourself, how do you usually react when you feel hurt? Do you shut down? Do you get defensive? The fourth one is setting healthy boundaries. A major part of healing is learning to set boundaries, saying yes to yourself instead of always prioritizing others. Learn to say no without guilt. Recognize when you're overgiving in a relationship so you don't end up hurting yourself. Stop seeking validation from others. I'll give you an example of I'll give you an example with Lisa's story. That's my friend. Lisa thought that saying no meant she was a bad person. She was a classic pleaser. She says yes to everything, even when she didn't want to. She feared disappointing people, but over time she realized that always putting others first was making her lose herself. When she started setting boundaries, she felt more confident and respected. Now she kept affirming to herself, my needs matter. Saying no is not an act of hatred, but an act of self care. Step 4, practice secure love. Now that we understand our love styles, we can work towards developing secure and healthy relationships, right? Okay, so if you're a pleaser, practice standing up for yourself. If you're a victim, learn to speak your truth. If you're a controller, learn to let go and trust. If you're a vacillator, manage expectations in love. If you're an avoider, open up emotionally. Now, let me give you the story of Alex and Jordan, my good friends. They are healing together, their healing journey. Alex was an avoider and Jordan was a vacillator. At first, their relationship was filled with misunderstandings. Alex needed space and Jordan craved deep emotional connections. But through therapy and communication, they learned how to meet each other halfway. Alex made an effort to express emotions, and Jordan learned to give space without feeling rejected. Today, they are having a very loving and healthy, balanced relationship. In fact, they are married. Healing isn't about being perfect, it's about learning, growing, and choosing love every day of your life. Whoa, I'm already sweating. What a powerful conversation we just had today. If you made it to the end of this video, I just want to say a very big thank you. You're already taking the first step towards healing. The fact that you're here listening and learning means you're on the path of breaking free from your past pattern. And I want you to remember that your past doesn't define you. You are worthy of love just as you are. Healing is 100% possible, always possible, and it's never too late to start. I want to hear from you. Which love style do you think relates with you the most? Drop it in the comment below and let's engage, because I'll be going through the comments and I will be reading each comment I see. If this video helped you, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you think someone you love needs to hear this, please don't hesitate to share it with them. Don't be too stingy. Let's keep building the community of healing and growth together. Until next time, please take good care of yourself and remember that you are loved. I love you. Thank you so much for watching and do have a good time. Bye.